This is the third week in a row. The third week in a row when I'm just going about my business thinking, okay, how about I work on some video essays about topics that aren't that time sensitive so I can work on them over time and then get them out when they're ready and, oh, what's that? Oh, no, actually, Savvy, you better sit down right now and make a new video right the heck now because there's actually more book community drama happening right now. That happened 2 weeks ago with the Million Lives Book Festival, then it happened last week with the Britt Andrews Kickstarter, and now when I thought that I was done with book community drama, at least for the meantime, and I could go back to reviewing either terrible books by grifter political influencers or good books by amazing queer artists or whatever else, actually, no, I can't because now another author has been caught not just scamming readers, not just using AI instead of writing her own book, but using AI to plagiarize another author. All right, we've got some stuff to unpack today.
Get you some nuts.
Yeah, you effing.
Up yours, woke moralist. We'll see who cancels who.
Hey everyone, I'm Savvy, and welcome back to Savvy Writes Books. On this channel, I do book reviews, book discussions, media analysis, video essays, talks about book publishing and the book industry business, and all of that. So if that is anything that you're interested in, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to ring the notification bell because I regularly put out videos on these topics. Right now, I'm doing them about every week, so have a good time. Before we get too deep into this video, I want to give a quick thank you to my Patreon supporters. Their names are up on the screen, and in the description below, you can find my top tier Patreon supporters who can link their own stuff in my description below, so check them out as well. If you are interested in getting behind the scenes photos, blog posts, sneak peeks of books that I'm writing, and more, please consider joining my Patreon. And if you want to stay connected with the community, but you don't want to join Patreon right now, then please subscribe to my subreddit, which is also linked in the description below. All right, let's get into it. Believe it or not, we have more than one author to discuss today, more than one person who is involved in this mess. But first, let's start with the one that caused this story to blow up, at least on social media over the past couple weeks. Meet Lena McDonald. Lena McDonald is an independent romantasy author known for her Dark Hollow Academy series. Her Amazon page shows that she has 9 books, but she actually has 3 books, and she's just translated them into French and German as well, so there are 3 editions of each book. Now, did she really translate these books into French and German? Or did she ask ChatGPT to do it for her? After we take a look at these books and what's in them, I will let you guys decide. The first book in the Dark Hollow series did really well with 82 reviews on Amazon. That's about twice as many reviews as even the best of my indie romances get, so that's to say, while she's not about to hit any New York Times bestseller lists anytime soon, she is doing pretty well for herself. She's on track for a solid career as a romantasy author, or at least she was. Let's take a look at book 2. The second book in the series came out just about 2 months ago in March of 2025, and while this one is still getting a decent number of reviews, well, the reviews are a lot more mixed than on her previous books. Let's take a look at them. 1 star, left an AI prompt in chapter 3. She what? She did what? The review says, found out that in chapter 3, the author wrote an AI prompt telling the AI to copy the writing style of a well-known author. Wait. So you're telling me that not only did Lena McDonald allow ChatGPT to generate the text of her book instead of, writing it herself, like a writer does, but also she specifically asked the robot to steal another writer's work? Okay, we have to look into this. Let's see what chapter 3 of this book actually looks like. Thankfully, Reddit came through on this one. Thank you to user FoxPaw44 for the screenshot of this part of the book with the passage highlighted. Let's read it. I expect skepticism, dismissal. What I get instead is immediate action. Roman moves fully between me and the mirror, making the floor vibrate slightly beneath our feet. Ash's scales darken as his fire magic heats the air around us. Okay, what comes next? I've rewritten the passage to align more with Jay Bree's style, which features more tension, gritty undertones, and raw emotional subtext beneath the supernatural elements. Wait, who rewrote the passage? This story is told in first person. Just a moment ago, I was referring to our main character, our POV character, our narrator, who was just feeling the floor vibrate while watching Ash's scales darken. Our main character, who I assume was about to engage in some top-tier monster fucking. But now, she's no longer looking at a mirror, or looking at sexy scales protruding from the paranormal beast in front of her. No, now she's suddenly rewriting passages. What passage, Lena? Did your text suddenly become meta? Yeah, because this wasn't actually meant to be part of the book. This was an AI prompt that Lena accidentally left in the book before publishing it. When she copy and pasted the results from ChatGPT, she seems to have accidentally highlighted the part where the robot explained to her the work that it did. This is like that time that J.K. Rowling quote tweeted a child's artwork while accidentally including her copy and pasted text from an article about how someone was gonna fuck up some TERFs. Remember that? What's extra disturbing about this is that not only did Lena ask the bot to write the text for her, she asked it to write it specifically in the style of another author named J. Bree. She used AI to steal a specific author's style. Alright, so let's take a look at the author she's trying to steal from. This is J. Bree. She's another popular author, one with a very successful career. Her most popular book, Broken Bonds, has over 50,000 reviews on Amazon with over a 4.5-star average, which is pretty huge. So I guess this is the author that Lena wanted to emulate. And by emulate, I mean ask the AI bot to steal from. Thankfully, Lena has responded to this controversy on her Amazon author page. Here's what she wrote. Hi everyone. I want to openly and sincerely address something that's come to light regarding my book. A prompt was recently found in the text. It's something that should never have made it into the final version. I want to apologize deeply to my readers and to the writing community. I love how she gives so much agency to the text itself here. It's something that should have never made it into the final version. Girl, if you're apologizing, that means you need to take responsibility. Use some I statements. Say, it's something that I should never have put into the book. Don't say that the text made it into the final version. The text didn't grow legs and walk into the book on its own, did it? You put it there. Or actually, beyond that, how about you say, I should not have asked ChatGPT to steal another author's work for my book in the first place. Because right now it sounds like you really only regret that you left it in the final version, like you're only sorry you got caught. Not that you're actually sorry that you tried to steal from another author, which is the actual issue. That's the actual thing people are mad about here. But let's continue on with this apology. The truth is, I used AI to help edit and shape parts of the book. As a full-time teacher and mom, I simply can't afford a professional editor, and I turned to AI as a tool to help refine my writing. Teaching wages make it hard enough to support a family, and writing has been a passion project I pursued in the small pockets of time I could find. My goal was always to entertain, not to mislead. Whoa! Okay, hold up. You're a teacher? This just got 1,000 times worse. Do you let your students turn in essays that ChatGPT wrote for them? If one of your students turned in an essay where they accidentally left in a thing that said, I've rewritten the passage for you to make it sound more professional and academic and used bigger, smarter words, would you just let that slide? If you gave them a bad grade on that essay, would that grade be solely because they forgot to take the text of the AI prompt out of the essay, or would it be because they were cheating on the essay in the first place? Would you give them the 0 that they deserve? Or would you just knock off a couple points because they accidentally let the AI prompt appear in the final product? I'm shocked that a teacher is okay with this, especially because I'm always hearing teachers talk about how AI is ruining students' literacy. So I stopped teaching back in 2020 before things like ChatGPT were in widespread use, so I thankfully never had to deal with this problem, but so many teachers today are struggling to enforce rules that a student has to write their own essay or do their own work, not use AI bots to cheat on their assignments. There is a slight commentary on capitalism that we can maybe squeeze out of this situation if we do want to discuss the topic with some, maybe not necessarily deserved nuance, but nuance nonetheless. First of all, using ChatGPT to steal another author's work is always wrong, full stop. There's no exceptions to that. At the same time, I do want to address the whole part about not being able to afford an editor on a teacher's salary. This doesn't excuse anything that Lena did here, but I do think it's important to discuss where classism comes into play in our expectations of authors and creators in general. When I read an independently published book, especially one by a newer author or a less established author, I'm usually pretty forgiving if there are a few typos or a few grammatical errors or the writing isn't perfect or there are some things I would have done better. I know I love to critique other authors on this channel, but I don't think that that means we need to bring down the sledgehammer at every single indiscretion. Some books I do think deserve that level of scrutiny. For example, if a book is like a bestseller, it's selling millions of copies, or it has a big 5 publishing company behind it, yeah, I would be disappointed to see typos typos in that because that author and the company that published it clearly had the resources to avoid those problems and they were just being lazy about it. But if it's an indie author's debut book, I'd rather there be a few mistakes than never get to hear that author's voice in the first place. But this still does not excuse using AI to rewrite your passages for you. Find a critique partner, swap work with each other, give each other feedback, and give each other suggestions. If you can't afford to hire an editor, at least your book will have gotten feedback from another writer. Or maybe meet an editor and offer to trade services with them. Is there something you can do for them? Like if you're a teacher, maybe their kid needs tutoring in something and you can tutor their kid and they can edit your book. I don't know, I'm just spitballing ideas here, but there are options. My point is, I'm very sympathetic to the argument about budget or not having enough money to do something at the same level as someone with a greater budget. But there are so many better options than saying, hey, ChatGPT, can you rewrite this section to sound like this other author who's better than me? That should not have even been an option that appeared on your menu in the first place. Legitimately, I would rather read an unedited, subpar book that was fully written by a human being than a book you had a robot try to clean up for you. Not every book has to be amazing. Some books can just be junk food style, cheap entertainment, and that's fine. Just make sure it's a book that you're making yourself. I want to read your work. All right, let's continue with the apology. That said, the appearance of an editing prompt in the final book was a mistake, one that I take full responsibility for. It has unintentionally sparked a broader conversation about AI in creative work, and I understand the concerns. I'm taking this seriously, and will be reviewing the book carefully, making corrections where needed, and being more transparent in the future about my process. To my readers, thank you for your support, your honesty, and your patience. I'm learning from this and will do better. To the wider community, I'm sorry.
We're sorry.
Okay, I'm all for people learning from their mistakes. Lord knows I've made plenty of terrible mistakes myself in my own life that I've had to learn from, and I've changed my opinions on plenty of topics over the years. I've changed my approaches to things when I've gotten new information or learned a better way to do something. But the issue here is that this apology doesn't really reflect an understanding of what readers were actually upset about. The readers weren't mad about the appearance of an editing prompt in the final book. They were mad that your editing process was just like, hey, robot friend, can you rewrite this to sound like a better author instead? They were mad that you were stealing from other authors, not just that this prompt was showing up in the text of the book or making your text look unprofessional. Now, it might be easy to say, okay, one author did this, someone was going to try it at some point, she got called out for it, hopefully she learned her lesson, even if what she posted on Amazon doesn't really sound like she necessarily learned her lesson, maybe she will. Turns out she's not the only one. Lena is merely the tip of the iceberg. There is so much more underneath. For example, let's take a look at a much bigger author, someone with a much greater following than Lena, who was recently caught doing the exact same thing. That author's name is K.C. Crown. K.C. Crown writes what I'm gonna call daddy fiction, and I'm calling it that based on the following titles that are featured right at the beginning of the author page on Amazon. Dr. Daddy, Taboo Daddy, Daddy's Best Friend, Daddy's Law, My Ex-Boyfriend's Dad, Daddy's Girl, My Ex-Best Friend's Daughter, Secret Daddy, Christmas with Dad's Best Friend, Vegas Daddy, Daddy's Obsession, Royal Daddy, Irish King, My Ex's Dad, Daddy's Orders. The list goes on and on, okay? Now, if you like daddy fiction or whatever this is, you do you, all right? Have fun. It's not my thing, but if you like it, enjoy it, read it. I'm just glad you're reading. Clearly, a lot of people do like it because K.C. Crown has built up quite the fan base. Casey's Amazon page shows 174 books, many of which have more than 3,000 reviews and pretty high average ratings, which, once again, I will emphasize, is not an easy feat to accomplish as an independent author with no publishing house backing you. I would normally have a lot of respect for someone who built a career like K.C. Crown. I would have respect if not for the amazing Blue Sky user Indie Book Spotlight, who recently posted receipts showing K.C. Crown also leaving AI prompts in the final draft of their book as well. This screenshot is from a now deleted user on the romance book subreddit, which was posted months ago and I guess just kind of flew under the radar from the larger indie book community outside of places like Reddit and Threads. But here Here is the prompt that showed up in the middle of Casey's book. Certainly, here's an enhanced version of your passage, making Elena more relatable and injecting additional humor while providing a brief, sexy description of Grigori. Changes are highlighted in bold for clarity. There's no bold on any of the text around it, so it seems like Casey Crown was smart enough or aware enough to remember to remove the bolding from the text, but not to delete the copy and pasted section that came directly from ChatGPT. Back in January, another indie author actually called out Casey Crown on this on her blog. This author's name is Vanya Reo, and I will link her blog post in the description below. This blog post includes a screenshot of an apology that Casey posted on Facebook, posted under the name P.A. Amanda, who is supposedly Casey's personal assistant. Here is how Casey Crown responded to this controversy. Hello everyone, this is Casey Crown using my PA's Facebook. Firstly, I want to say that I understand your frustrations. To think that an author that you have enjoyed reading has AI-generated books is understandably a cause for concern. I can assure everyone that all my books are written by me. I've been writing books before AI came about. I've recently started the practice of using AI to make very minor edits. To be honest, I'm still learning about how to best use AI to make my readers experience better, but I can assure you that keeping my original voice strong is of utmost importance. I hope you can understand that enhancing the reader's experience is my ultimate goal. The last thing I would want is for my books to not be competitive in the market. Finally, I take full responsibility for the error in the file. Alright, am I the weird one here? Am I going nuts, or does this response also feel AI generated? I don't know for sure, but there's something very detached about this reply. Things like, to be honest, I'm still learning how to best use AI to make my reader's experience better, and I hope you can understand that enhancing the reader's experience is my ultimate goal. It just sounds weird. It doesn't sound human to me for some reason, but I could be wrong. Like, in what way does asking a robot to write it for you make the reader's experience better? Also, like Casey mentioned, they've been writing books since long before ChatGPT was a thing, so clearly they're capable of writing without it. Just do exactly what you were doing before. Write the book like how you used to, like a few years ago before you could use ChatGPT. Write the book the way you used to do it then. And then, when you reach the step where you're about to put your text into ChatGPT and ask it to rewrite it for you, just don't do that part. Just like you did before. Just don't do the part where you ask the robot to rewrite the book for you. It's that easy. It really is. The Indie Book Spotlight account on Blue Sky noted another author also leaving AI prompts in their book, this time an author named Rania Ferris. This screenshot came from the Threads user Amalea Writes, who included not just a screenshot of the plagiarism, but a photograph of a printed page in a physical book. Yeah, this author got an AI-generated book printed. They used excess power to generate this slop, and then they used up paper made from trees on God's green earth to print it. Here's what it said. This is already quite strong, but it can be tightened for a sharper and more striking delivery while maintaining the intensity and sardonic edge you're aiming for. Here's a refined version. Then it's followed by the remaining text of the book. Excuse me, ChatGPT, who are you to tell anyone that you can refine their writing into a more striking delivery? Where do you get off? Nowhere, because you're not real! Throughout researching this video, I have seen some authors and readers alike asking questions like, okay, but is any amount of ChatGPT or any amount of generative AI okay in the creation of a book? Is it okay to use it like a search engine when you're doing your researching phase? Is it okay to talk to it while you're doing your warm-up exercises and then go on to write and edit the entire book yourself, like in a separate document? And this is where I think over the past 2 years, I've done a lot of thinking on this, and I think my opinions on this have evolved a lot. For example, a year or two ago, if you'd asked me if I thought that was okay, I would have said, I don't really care as long as you're not using the book to write it for you. Who cares if you use it like how you'd use Google? Who cares if you're like, I want to name some background characters. I'll just ask ChatGPT to give me a list of popular names to choose from because that might be like 10 seconds faster than going to a baby naming website. I used to think that was no big deal, but nowadays I have completely changed my mind on that. And the reason I bring that up is that while it's pretty obvious to most of us other than people like Lena McDonald, Casey Crown, Rania Ferris, others too, I guess, it's obvious to most writers that using AI to write the text of your book for you is very obviously plagiarism. That's obvious, but then I've seen other people discussing, where that line is. Could you use ChatGPT for other things that might seem more okay that don't really feel like plagiarism? And in the past, I was kind of like, I don't care, you do you, as long as you're not like directly plagiarizing. But lately, as I've learned more about AI and how it works, I've absolutely changed my mind on this. And I am now, at the end of May 2025, in this moment, I am of the opinion of no, No ChatGPT at all. Don't use generative AI. Just stay away from it entirely. And there are a few reasons for that I'd like to explain in case it's something that you're questioning yourself. First, we know that these AI, like language learning models, they use machine learning. To do that, they are trained on other people's work, and then companies like OpenAI profit from people paying for these premium accounts to ChatGPT, along with companies like, Microsoft with Copilot. They're making money from businesses paying for these things, and these companies are making this profit, but they're never actually paying the creators who made the original writings that they're training the bots on. They're never paying to license the work. They're never paying any royalties to the people who are providing the materials to make these AI bots possible. So I just don't think that that's ethical. When you think about it that way, it's like, no, if they can't afford to pay to license the material they're training the bots on, then they can't really afford to be running this business, and it's not ethical for them to be doing so. Beyond that, though, and I think this is even a bigger thing, is that it's horrible for the environment. In January of 2025, MIT News posted an article called Explained: Generative AI's Environmental Impact. As the article explains, the computational power required to train generative AI models that often have billions of parameters, such as OpenAI's ChatGPT-4, can demand a staggering amount of electricity, which leads to increased carbon dioxide emissions and pressures on the electric grid. Furthermore, deploying these models in real-world applications, enabling millions to use generative AI in their daily lives, and then fine-tuning the models to improve their performance draws large amounts of energy long after a model has been developed. Beyond electricity demands, a great deal of water is needed to cool the hardware used for training, deploying, and fine-tuning generative AI models, which can strain municipal water supplies and disrupt local ecosystems. The increasing number of generative AI applications has also spurred demand for high-performance computing hardware, adding indirect environmental impacts from its manufacture and transport. In a PBS News interview with Kenza Bryan, who's a climate reporter for the Financial Times, she explained it like this: their environmental impact is huge and it's growing. AI data centers are massively contributing to the continued rise in power demand, which itself contributes to the continued rise in global emissions. And most importantly, it's growing faster than grid capacities. And even more importantly, it's growing faster than renewable energy growth, which means that even as data center energy use grows, clean energy from wind, solar, nuclear perhaps is lagging behind. The AI boom has taken off at an awkward time for the fight against climate change because global temperatures are already rising much faster than scientists expected. And now AI, the International Energy Agency has said, is contributing to a massive increase in power demand, which itself is contributing to an increase in emissions. So my point is, if you're an author or a reader or anyone who's considering using AI and you're thinking like, well, yeah, using AI to write the book is obviously plagiarism, but if I use it to do like quick Google search type things, I'd still recommend against doing that. I don't think it's worth contributing to the destruction of the planet when there are so many other resources that can help you with these things, and I'd rather just see services like ChatGPT go away entirely. I think they are a net negative impact on the world. I kind of want them gone. And it sucks because the concepts of artificial intelligence and machine learning as a whole are not all things like ChatGPT or generative models, and I'd really rather see the explorations we're doing of artificial intelligence and machine learning as a field venture into things instead like analyzing medical data more thoroughly, providing assistive technology for disabled people, things like that, instead of focusing on these get-rich-quick generative platforms that use up tons of power and incentivize people to just fill up the internet with this unoriginal slop. Right now, it's independent authors who are catching all the heat for this, but I'm worried that in traditional publishing this problem also exists. I'm currently trying to do research on whether traditionally published books are going to get in trouble for using AI. That might be a whole separate video topic if I end up getting into that, but I think that right now, it's mainly self-published authors that are the ones getting caught. Regardless, I don't like seeing this kind of thing happening in the book community at all. I love being an independent author. I love creating as many stories as my mind wants to dream up. I love never having to wait for an agent or a publisher to move my book through the printing and distribution process. I love that the past 10 years have constituted such a strong independent author renaissance online, the same way we saw indie music and indie movies take off in the 2000s and the 2010s. So fellow independent authors out there, listen to me, all right? If you keep doing shit like this, you're gonna ruin it for the rest of us. We do this as a labor of love. And yes, we still do it because we need to make money. Yes, it's important to put out books quickly. And yes, to an extent, we are still controlled by the algorithm when it comes to selling ebooks online on a large scale. Everything in the world is still a commentary on capitalism. There's no ethical production or consumption under capitalism. I know, I agree, but that doesn't mean you should try to burn your readers' trust into the ground. Take some goddamn pride in your work. I didn't expect to be making this video this week, so I am gonna have more of the roasting shitty AI slop type of videos coming in the next couple weeks, but I've also got a few book reviews planned and scheduled coming soon to this channel, including like some Pride Month topics, so stay tuned for all of that. I hope you guys are enjoying everything here. Let me know how your week's been in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts on all of this, but other than that, I'll see you guys next week. I got a book review coming out next week. I'll see you then, but in the meantime, have a good weekend. Don't destroy the planet. Write your own books. Take some goddamn pride in your work. Bye!
Get you some nuts.
Yeah, you effin'.
Up yours, woke moralist. We'll see who cancels who.